Hello, everyone, and welcome to Stress-Free IEP, the show where we help families build their village to raise their neurodivergent children with confidence and support. I'm your host, Frances Shefter, special education attorney, advocate, and fellow parent walking this journey with you. This podcast has always been about helping families build a village, people, systems, and supports that help their child thrive. One of the things I care most about is helping families figure out who should be part of their child's village, because no one should have to do this alone, and no one should have to guess. So this year, I actually hosted 38 guests that could become members of your village. Don't worry, I'm not going to talk about all 38. I'm just going to highlight a couple in a couple different areas that were most memorable to me and I think most informative and most unique, I should say, as well. So the first one is on independent living and life skills, which is stuff that usually the schools don't teach our kids, but important. So first one, episode 85, where Arlene Lechner and Melissa Hochberg spoke. They're with EASE, educating neurodiverse teens. So they spoke about what they do, and they educate neurodiverse teens and adults on dating, consent, relationships, and social skills, which, as we know, is extremely important for our neurodiverse community, because especially when kids don't always get social cues. So what does this mean? What is true consent? What is true social skills? How do we date? How do we have a relationship? These are all things that Arlene and Melissa work with, and they have different programs in different classes. So that's a great program for you guys. The other one, I had Joan Green on, and Joan, the reason I thought she was really cool is she is a SLP, speech language pathologist, and assistive technology specialist. There are not a lot of those out there. Usually in the school system, we'll ask for a Hyatt consult or assistive tech consultation, but she's one that works outside of. And she's the founder of what's called Tech Life Inner Circle. And this is a community that she has built to help families learn how to leverage technology and get all out of the programs you already know and already own. And there were a couple of things I remember she going about, that there's a lot of, like, even just on our cell phone, there's a lot of different accessibility features that I know I don't know about, but that she can go into and talk about what's there so that you can just use the technology you have for you and your neurodiverse child or teen to help make life a little bit easier. The next one I thought was really important. Melissa, or Mindy Niland, she is a travel trainer. What does that mean? She helps the neurodivergent community navigate bus routes and metro systems and maps. And what is this? Why is this important? Because it helps build independence. Our neurodiverse community, sometimes they're stuck because they don't know how to get anywhere other than walking distance, or they need a ride, or they need this, or can't afford an Uber. And so she comes out and she actually does the route with the neurodiverse person and talks about, like, well, if this bus doesn't come, what are some other options we have? Or if this metro is late, what are some other options we have? So that not only how do we get from A to B, but let's problem solve. If something happens when you're on the way to A to B, what's a solution that you know about, so that a child can have less anxiety and be able to be independent moving around the city. The next category is family support and caregiver resources. So episode 88, we had Andrea Jones, who started a nonprofit called Caregivers Dream, Disability Rights Education Advocacy Movement. This is in DC. The whole basis of this program is to pursue health and education equity for families with neurodivergent children. So their program is a nonprofit able to be there to support families with education, navigating the IEP system, health issues, navigating the system, because as we all know, it's overwhelming. And sometimes we just need somebody to tell us, oh, this is how we can do this, and makes it easier. Episode 89, I had Amanda Levin, who is the founder of Spice Girls. So all you moms out there, if you don't know about Amanda's group, it is awesome. She does peer support and social group in the greater DC area. She has a WhatsApp group that's very active, a Facebook page, and she also does in-person gatherings and trainings. So that's a great resource of like to get together with other moms and caregivers that just get what we're going through. You don't have to explain anything. We just get it. Next, which I thought was really important, on episode 90, I had Mary McDirmid of All Needs Planning. She is a financial planner. And here's the thing. I know you're probably going, oh, I don't have enough money for financial planning. But guess what? You do. If you have any money at all, which all of us do, because how else are we going to pay our bills, right? It's important that you meet with somebody to talk about planning, especially parents and caregivers of children with disabilities, because we need to have a plan in place and we need to know some things, because sometimes there's a case that a well-meaning aunt or uncle might gift your child something, and because it was gifted directly to your child, it now might mess up the qualifications and the eligibility for some services that your child's getting. So it's what to know, how to tell relatives, how we can set up your child to have the financial support they need in the future, and how to help you navigate planning for your child's future. And then episode 111, this one was my solo one on the top 10 legal tips for a successful IEP meeting, which I know a lot of you are interested in. And you can also go to my website. I have a free download, which all the links will be below, but that has the top 10 tips. So if you don't have time to watch the video, you can just print this out and have it with you at the IEP meetings, because as we all know, when you get nervous, you're not going to always remember it, but then you'll have the printout there to help support you at the IEP meeting. The next category of guests that I had are community-based programs and opportunities. So first, episode 98, I had Casey Joseph on, and Casey, she has Casey's Special Education Services that helps in a lot of areas of homeschooling, of education, of tutoring, and so forth. But why I wanted to pull her out is that she hosts a lot of events in the DMV area. So if you're looking for events to do with your neurodivergent kids, follow Casey, go find her, which again, her link will be below, or the link to her show will be below, and then the link in the show will be there, to see some of the events that she has, to again, find things for your family to do with people who get it. Next was episode 105, where I had Andrea Levin, who talked about all sorts of after-school programs and adaptive sports happening in Montgomery County. She was such an amazing resource, because there are, as we know, our kids aren't always going to make it in with a neurotypical team. There are programs out there for our kids to participate in all sorts of sports, baseball, soccer, whatever it is, to the level that they can participate. She also went into how some of our neurotypical or more physically able kids can get SSL hours for middle and high school by helping support these kids in these programs. So like if a kid's playing baseball and they are in a wheelchair, the kid can maybe swing the bat and hit the ball, but needs somebody to run the bases with them. So a kid could be the person pushing the wheelchair around, so that the child is getting the full experience of playing baseball in a way that works for them. Other episodes, complementary and integrative supports. So these are for supports outside of the school system or some in the school system. So Lisa Quinn was episode 87 with Reach Every Voice and Communication for Education. Lisa goes in a lot about AAC devices, alternative augmentative communication. Oh, I got it right. I usually say it wrong. Devices, and how important it is for everybody to be trained right. Because an AAC device yes, it's a way for a child to communicate. But if the staff doesn't know how to help the kids use it, or the parents don't know how to integrate it into the day, then it just sits there and it becomes wasted technology. Whereas when the staff knows how to help the child communicate, it opens the door for your child that might need this device. She also talked about the movie on Disney Plus, Out of Your Mind, which if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It was amazing. My kids loved it. My husband loved it. Bring a box of tissues because it is a tearjerker, but it was an amazing movie. Next, episode 99, I had Lori Getland Watson, and she talked about something that I had never heard about, neurographical art. And so neurographical art is a system that she works through step by step with you and your neurodivergent students and adults and helps you to find focus, calm, and creativity. And I will admit that I haven't called her yet to set it up for my family and I, but I am very intrigued and trying to check it out. So if you actually have had the class with Lori, please comment below and let us know how it went and how it improved things with your child or adults or yourself. But I'm definitely interested in how it's just drawing patterns and in certain ways helps you find the focus, calm, and creativity. Next, one of my favorite people, and that's just because Gabrielle has been amazing with my daughter. Gabrielle Seja is a physical therapist. She was episode 117. She talks about how finding ease in your body, emotional regulation, and healing. We talked about all of the work she does with my daughter, and it's Masgatova sensory motor integration, or MNRI method. What is that? It's integrating primitive reflexes and neural pathways that might not be developed yet to improve motor skills, learning, emotional regulation, and cognitive functioning. And so she goes in what she does in the therapy room. She addresses these underdeveloped reflex patterns in the nervous system and helps develop them so that our children and adults can function better in their body and feel more at ease in their body. A couple that I wanted to mention just because these conversations stuck with me. And the story stuck with me. And so I wanted to share. Episode 113 is Lauren Gilbert. Lauren wrote a book called Ella and Her Neurosparkly Brain. And it's a mother story of hope and neurodiversity. So Lauren goes in, gets very personal, and talks about her journey as a mother with stage 4 colon cancer. And she talks about the book and how she came about writing the book and sharing it and what she's shared with her child and what she understands. And then she goes into, it's cute, her son is like, well, why isn't there a book about me? So of course she wrote a book about her son. I think it was Leo the Lion. It might not be, I don't remember, but we'll put the links to her books in the show notes below as well. And then most recently, I had Janelle McCarthy on. And why I pulled Janelle out, Janelle is a licensed counselor and play therapist. I pulled her episode out to talk about because of where we went with behavior conversations. As we know, you've heard me talk about in lots of episodes, behavior is communication. And as we know, schools need to change behavior, punish behavior, whatever the terminology is that they do. And when it's a manifestation of our disability, so the kid's dysregulated, they weren't acting out this behavior. It was a reflex. It was just them trying to get out of the situation in the only way they know how, flipping a desk, hitting somebody, whatever it may be. So should this behavior be punished? Absolutely not. But does it need to be corrected? Yes. And so Janelle and I went into detail about talking about why we don't want to just excuse all behavior as well. It's the disability. And how we can reframe it as consequences, not punishment. because there's a big difference, and how it's important that the child understand you're not being punished. We're just thinking of other ways that we can change the behavior so that everybody can be safe. So those are the main highlights of this last year. And thank you all for joining us. Looking back, I will have to say, looking back on this year, I went back and looked through all my episodes, and I'm so grateful for all of the conversations we've shared about life skills beyond the classroom, parent and family support, community programs, and the many ways that families can build their village outside of the school. Some of these conversations stayed with me, and I hope a few stayed with you too. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone in your village. Next week, we'll shift from looking back to looking ahead to guests that will be on our show in 2026. Until next time, remember, you do not have to do it all alone.